So, we are here this evening to talk about something that I wasn't initially planning on talking about for this podcast. I was trying to keep this more in the sense of a chronological story. But as I ponder this journey, I've been thinking about more what I want to talk about, what my soul craves to talk about. And right now it's zombies. It's for some reason, whenever I try to think about new ideas of things to talk about, I keep getting drawn back to the undead, and not just games, but movies. Things like that. It's just what my brain goes to right away. So I need to satisfy that craving and just get it done with, or at least get started. So. But yeah. By the way, guys, we have Zach tonight here. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm really excited to be here.
Good. Yeah. Thank you. And Dylan's back for the third episode. Is that right?
Yep, I think
Yeah.
we can count that high. Yeah.
Very- Yeah, so between the three of us, we'll see what we come up with. But I was trying to think back as far as I could in terms of zombies when I was a kid. And I don't remember a single movie coming out when I was a kid with zombies until I played a video game about zombies. And that was the original Resident Evil. And actually, I think I played the second one before the first one came out. I don't think I even knew about the first one until I saw the second one. And it was like one of those things you can play at like Circuit City. It wasn't even Best Buy at the time. It was Circuit City, the one that was, bankrupted. Zach, do you ever know what Circuit City
Oh,
was?
I remember the commercials.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was like the earlier Best Buy.
Mhm.
But I played like the demo, the Resident Evil demo at Circuit City when I was a kid. And it's, have you guys played Resident Evil 2, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Always watched you, but
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I remember playing that game. It was like a 10-minute intro or a demo where you walk into the police station. You're playing, I think, Claire Redfield, maybe.
You sure?
And you walk into like this abandoned police station that's very ominous and creepy, and you go into this like reception area, and there's this wounded cop on the ground.
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, I'm dying, and yada yada, take my keys or something like that. And then he ends up transforming into a zombie and trying to eat you. God, it was when I was a kid. I remember it being so terrifying.
That was Marvin. That was Officer Marvin.
Mark, God, there you go.
The memory. Oh
Jesus.
This is not the arcade, is it?
I can't get too much credit because they just remade that game 6 years ago. I don't know if you guys played that.
No.
Oh man, well,
I haven't played any remakes of any Resident Evil, I don't think.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, so in the remake, they bring that back. And I did play the original game. I wouldn't have remembered his name from that, but I do remember from.
I remember playing that demo many times, in
Mhm.
like 15 minutes. Like, oh, this is so good. But then it came out, and I remember being too afraid to play past that part because it was so terrifying. It was a very good horror game
Yeah.
for its day.
It was much more approachable than the first Resident Evil. Like the first Resident Evil is still like a beast to get a handle on the controls. Your inventory is nothing. Your gun doesn't do anything. And like 2 starts like you have a machine gun in your hand. So it's already like more
Yeah.
accessible.
So not quite as polished as the second one.
Yeah, I think they got more of a stride with 2.
So I remember, this was probably my first like real zombie experience as a kid playing the Resident Evil 2 game, the demo. And I remember convincing my mom to buy it for me this was now Best Buy, because I remember it being in Best Buy, but I remember playing it in Circuit City. So at some point, the company or something went bankrupt. I don't know what happened. So I was at Best Buy with my mom, and my brother was there, Ryan, and I was trying to convince my mom to buy this game, which is like mature rating, and I'm like 8 or something. I don't remember how old I was. And she's like, oh, this looks really gory. And I was like, no, it's fine, Yeah. And then my brother was like, no, this is a really bad game. You shouldn't get this, Mom. And I was like, Ryan. So Ryan convinces my mom, thinking this is the better solution, to buy the director's cut of Resident Evil 2. He thought it was like a cleaner version of the game. So, but it's like amplified gore and violence. So I ended up getting Resident Evil 2, the director's cut. It was the game I remember. I was like, is this the better version? No, and I looked it up, and it's like the gorier version. That's so funny. So his plan backfired. But very, very good game. What are your guys' first memories of just the undead in general when you were kids? Anything?
Well, I don't know how old you are, Zach. Are you similar to
You guys are the same age, right?
I'm 32.
Okay. I'm 34. Yes. Okay. That's what it is. So me personally, I grew up next to Carrie. And we didn't have the consoles or the games like Carrie did, because he was older than us and we were younger. So we took advantage of that and just walked next door to see these games being played. And I have an identical twin, so it was very difficult to get into a position where I could play a game by myself. That's just was not a thing. It's every game we played, we had to play co-op and stuff, something of that nature. And so single player games with good story driven games were non-existent in our household, because it's not just me and Derek. I also have two older brothers, so who one played video games arguably more than we did, and so we had to play multiplayer games. So when I had to find a single player game or a new game coming out, we would always walk over to Carrie's house and see whether or not it was a good game. And I remember my first experience with a zombie game. Mind you, I'm like 8 years old or 7 years old, and walk over to Carrie's house and he's playing Resident Evil. And he's got like 8 bullets in his gun, and you're going down this corridor, you turn the corner, and then there's just a zombie in your face, and he's screaming, just shooting, and he's older than us. Derek and I were just screaming our heads off, and that was my first experience in a zombie like game, and it was the Resident Evil franchise. I personally have never played any of those games because I think I'm scarred for being so young.
My fault. Yeah.
Yeah, and Harry basically he loved those games. He played through them multiple times. Like, I don't know how many Resident Evils there are even. I don't know.
There's some ridiculous amount.
He played through, like, we could do one, he would get the next one, we always just watched him play, never played ourselves. He tried to give us the controller one time, but we just freaked out too much. We would freak out with the things coming through walls, like when you're going down a hallway and the arms back. It's just, we were too young. And yeah, sorry, Mom and Dad, if you ever listen to this podcast.
Was that probably your first memory as well, Zach, would you say?
It is, yeah.
Not even just games, by the way, movies or memorabilia or comics, Walking Dead, anything like that.
First time ever dealing with zombies, definitely it was Resident Evil 1, watching my dad play it on the first PlayStation.
Wow, your dad played first.
Yeah, he played it on PlayStation. Just oddly enough, those games were so unapproachable to me at the time. I remember being like, "Oh my god, a puzzle! What am I gonna do? Like, I can't figure this out." So like, it wasn't until I was a little bit older. In fact, my little brother got into the original games, the original Resident Evil 1 Director's Cut, RE2, RE3, RE4 was my first actual playing through a Resident Evil game, which I basically never stopped playing. You're Leon. It's his second appearance in the series. It's where you're rescuing the president's daughter. She's been kidnapped and she's been brought to Spain somewhere. Wow. Right. As preposterous as it may sound, but
Resident Evil.
And it was where the camera for the first time in the series changed from being this kind of like an orbiting camera to over the shoulder, which really kind of affected games across the board from there. Like, I think RE4 popularized that camera perspective.
Maybe that was the profile, or the origin of what's called like the third person shooter.
Yeah.
Which is over one of the shoulders.
Gears of War, a few years after War, and then just Last of Us, 100%.
To me, that was one of the scariest aspects of the first Resident Evil games was your perspective of the avatar, because you could never, a lot of times you couldn't even see what's in front of you.
Yeah.
You hear something,
you'll hear it,
but the angle of the camera was facing literally the wrong direction. So you're like, what's there? Until you walk forward until it finally shows you different.
Are these precious bullets hitting anything that I'm firing down?
Yeah. So that was like, Jesus, this is a terrifying game. So, and I was trying to think, like, there's a gap for me between Resident Evil and the next big zombie game that came out for me. For me, it was literally Resident Evil all the way to like maybe Dead Island 2, which I played with you a lot, Dylan.
You did play Dead Island.
But I don't know what else we played, or that I played between Resident Evil and like 10 years later. I don't know if there was a gap in Resident or zombie. Oh my God, what am I thinking, man? It's even on my okay. So that was the gap. That was
Left 4 Dead was the big game, because that was coming out near this. We were playing Team Fortress. We were playing Counter-Strike. We were playing like those types of games were all becoming huge because computers were starting to become huge at that time too, and like consoles, the war between consoles and PC. But that was after Resident Evil, and then Dead Island came out about a decade later.
I forgot my timeline already. So Left 4 Dead, I looked it up. Left 4 Dead 2, I have the most hours out of any game that I've played in history, even more than EverQuest. Like, by about double.
Really? More than EverQuest. Yeah. I find that hard to believe.
The EverQuest, I had 1,300 hours, which is pretty good amount of hours. Left 4 Dead 2 was like 2,100 hours. Oh, it's a
That's
lot
surprising.
of. Did you ever play that? I don't think I ever saw you on that. Did
No,
I?
I didn't play a lot with you because I didn't have the computer good enough to do it.
Okay.
Did
'cause
you
that
play on the
was
computer or the console?
PC? Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So I didn't. Yeah, we didn't have computers. That was my Halo era. That's when I played
that's right. You
Halo
were like the
2, Halo
college
3,
Halo time.
Halo 4.
Okay.
You know, that was high school and college. Yeah,
Okay.
all Halo, man. And it wasn't
Mhm.
until probably my second year of college I got a computer good enough to play games because the other computer was Spencer's when we were in high school. That wasn't our
What a
computer.
pain in the ass.
That was Spencer's computer that we played EverQuest on and stuff like that. That's the reason why he could kick us off whenever he wanted to.
Yeah, that's right.
It's
Okay.
his stuff. But anyway, so yeah, I didn't get a good enough PC to play Left 4 Dead 2 until I was in college.
So to give people quick perspective, by the way, for people that don't really game, I forgot to mention this. So Resident Evil, I don't even know what inspired the title to that game. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Do you know any idea?
Well, I know that overseas it's called Biohazard.
Uh-huh.
And I know that for some reason it was like I don't think that's a good title. I think Resident Evil is a supremely better name. I think it was just because it's a simple, it might have even, who knows, maybe it was a funny Japanese to English translation where it's like the
Yeah,
people in
that's
the
what it
house are
sounds like.
bad.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's basically what
evil,
it is.
evil house. Yeah, or
Evil
something.
House. It could have been something as simple as that, but of course it's like a totally iconic name. Everybody knows Resident
Yeah,
Evil.
I remember reading the title and I was like, what are they trying to go for in this
Mhm.
title? And I couldn't figure it out, but it fits the game perfectly somehow.
Somehow, yeah.
It did a good job with like the overall energy of the title converting into the game, but it makes no sense if you just look at it on paper. But
Totally.
oh, and this reminds me. So let's get back to Resident Evil for a little bit. I remember getting to the movie theaters. I think I was maybe like freshman high school or something. I remember you might have been there, Dylan. I think like I saw a movie. It might have been like the first Gladiator movie, like back in 2002 or 2003, somewhere in there.
2000, I think.
Yeah. And I was sitting through the previews before the movie began at Hollywood 20, the movie theaters downtown, which was like the banging spot. I know you're not really from here, Zach, but
On Main Street?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that place.
Oh, okay. Hollywood 20, like when I was a kid, like
That was the place
everyone
to
was
be.
there.
Has it been updated in a while? I mean, it's not bad, but
I haven't been there in the longest time.
okay.
But
It was a lot worse. But it was the place to be. The seats were not good. There was less. There was I think they call it Hollywood 12 now or something. I don't know. But there's 20
that
theaters.
was the place to be.
Yeah, it was because it was downtown. It was offset downtown enough that people's parents could go
Yeah.
and
Right.
be downtown and then shove all their kids on the edge on the side of the edge of downtown Sarasota. It was just packed with like high schoolers and middle schoolers, and that's where it was.
Yeah.
That's on like Saturday nights or Friday nights instead of like a regular weekday would be like maybe the mall or something like that. That's where that's when people
That
used
was
to
the
go to
place
the
be
mall.
at. Okay. So anyway, I am watching the previews before Gladiator, and I remember seeing a preview for a movie, and the first like 20 seconds of it, I was getting like a little twinge because it was showing like it was showing like a little vial of like a virus or something.
Yep.
And then it shows like
It's like the blue liquid
and
and
like the T virus. And then it shows like a zombie dog, and I was like, "What the fuck? What is this?"
Yeah.
And then, sure enough, it was the preview for the first Resident Evil movie with Mila. That's your last name,
Jovovich, yeah.
Jovovich. And I remember I was like, "Oh my god, they're finally making a movie!" And I was freaking out in the movie, theater as they're showing this preview, and that was such not a pivotal moment for me as a person, but I remember like being over the moon.
Like I have to see it.
Yeah, I could not wait until the movie came out. Yeah.
Yeah, I
the first
agree.
movie was pretty good.
It actually is for what it is, given that I don't know if any of us knew at the time. Like, probably when I saw the trailer, I'm thinking, oh, she's Claire or she's Jill or she's someone, but isn't. It's like a whole new character. It's very loosely based on like the original games.
It is.
But yeah, that first movie is not too bad.
So was the first one? Is that the one with the laser room?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that was. Oh no. Yeah, now I remember.
Yeah.
Okay, so I almost like forced you guys to watch this movie.
Yeah, you did.
You're.
I remember
I was
Buzz again
like-
being way too young.
I was like, it's not that scary. Don't worry. And you're like, no, we can't watch this. My mom's in a disappear. I was like, don't worry, just watch it. Yeah, I was so
I think
sorry.
we didn't see it in theaters. You bought the DVD.
Yes.
And we saw it on. It was a Blu-ray at that time. I don't know what it was,
Yeah.
but you had a good living room set up, and so we watched it there because you knew we would not be allowed to watch it at our house.
Couldn't get away with it.
And I just remember, Carrie just going, all right, guys, you got to watch this scene. This next scene is awesome.
Yeah.
It's the laser room.
Yeah.
And I just remember being disgusted and also amazed
Yeah.
about that whole scene. And I don't
Yes,
want to
it's
ruin it, but spoil it for a 25-year-old movie. But it's the grid. As soon as it turned to the grid, and he just went, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah.
And then
Shit.
and then he just melts. I was just like, "Are you
And-
kidding me?"
Yeah.
10-year-old me going or whatever it was. I was just like,
I remember, I don't know why I remember all this. This is weird, but I remember you asking the question, why wouldn't they just do the grid in the first place?
first
Just tell
place.
everybody.
yeah.
And it's because she was just obviously playing with them because she knew she was about to be, disarmed.
Gotcha.
So then in the last moment, she went to like full grid, like, all right, you're dead.
Gotcha.
That's my theory at least. Because why else would she just do the straight line if she could just kill everybody immediately?
right.
You know what I mean?
And that's
See the AI or the
The Red Queen.
The Red Queen, yeah.
She was the AI that controlled
Okay.
the defense systems of the underground secret facility
Okay, it's
called
coming
the
back to
Hive.
me now.
Yeah,
I
but
did ask that.
Yeah, but obviously she was messing with these people until the very last minute before she knew she was about to be deactivated, so she'd make sure they're all dead. Yeah, that's at least my theory. Anyways,
that scene carried over in like 2 other games later on. Like in Resident Evil 4, they have it's the exact same room that they have Leon go through. And it's like there's some quick time events and things like that. And then they had it again in the recent remake of 4 as well. It was a little more elaborate, but it's really
Damn,
cool.
I need to see that. I haven't played it.
You have to play
I
it.
played 5 where you have the co-op mode, like the first co-op mode. That
Yeah.
was really cool.
Yeah.
Like the first actual true co-op. They had a co-op mode, Dylan, Resident Evil 5 or
Yeah, but
Africa, right?
It's in Africa.
Really cool. I'm glad they finally made a co-op version of it. It was very good. I remember that one. But
Underrated game.
yeah, very good game. I enjoyed that one. All right, let's take a quick break. I'm just gonna get a little bit more mead.
Are we going to break right now or not?
So whatever I say right now is not on there.
It's going straight to YouTube.
I'm going to admit it. I hate zombies.
I would admit it.
Why am I here?
I hated Resident Evil.
I actually hate Resident Evil.
No, but this meat is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's good, right? Yeah.
Where do I buy this?
So sometimes it's hard to find, sometimes it's easy to find, but they pretty much always have it at Total Wine.
Okay.
And there are different flavors of this. Company has it like probably a dozen different flavors of the mead.
Yeah.
Some are more hoppy, some are more like fruity. And so this is the original flavor, which I like the most.
This is like tastes like honey. Like
Yeah,
I
Well, I
remember,
mean, it's
like,
literally fermented honey
Yeah.
with a little bit of apple as well.
that's what it is.
It's very good. I want to finish the bottle. So
Well,
please,
this is actually like half the reason why I want to get bees eventually.
if you ever do,
It's going to be so cool.
I will-
with the bees.
I will help you.
It's a system. It's a process, and I don't know. I have neighbors, so who knows? But
Right.
it's just I want bees, so obviously bees to help the environment.
Yeah.
And also, the other half is to get honey,
Yeah.
and I don't use honey realistically, but I would use the honey to make mead.
So you don't put like honey in your coffee or anything like that?
I'd brew tea.
I bet you would if you had fresh honey from your backyard.
That's the thing. If I had fresh honey from
use
my
that shit all the
backyard,
time.
I would probably use it.
They say that beekeepers have the longest life expectancy out of like any average profession, especially if you have hives closer to your house, because the sound that they emit from their buzzing is supposed to like be the perfect Fibonacci arch or
Really?
something, and it's good for your brain, especially when you sleep.
I never heard that.
I mean, who knows if all this is true? That's what
Right.
I've read about, but it's like the perfect Fibonacci
That's just
equation.
another reason to
Yeah.
do it, I guess, huh?
You imagine a beekeeper is probably a disciplined person. So they're probably like,
And it's probably a very therapeutic profession.
Yeah, single malt, 16-year-old, dark, full flavour, warmer, not aggressive, easy aftertaste. Takes out the fire but leaves in the warmth.
I do want to play Last of Us. It's on my list. It's
Yeah.
just if games weren't $70 a piece,
yeah, okay.
I think the only complaint I have about the show, The Last of Us, because I listened to like a lot of the behind the scenes and the commentaries, that type of thing, is that pretty much the main 2 actors, what's his name? Pedro Pascal.
Mhm.
What's the girl's name in real life? I don't remember, but
she's also in Game of
I
Thrones.
know she's in
I-
that.
ironically, her last name is Ramsey, which is the real dickhead.
on
Game
Game
of
of Thrones.
Not Gordon Ramsay. That's the Hell's Kitchen guy.
Ramsey,
Ramsey, the last. What's his
in
name?
Game of Thrones. Ramsey.
Anyways, I'm talking
Ramsey Bolton.
Bolton.
Wow, that just came
House
back to me
Bolton.
after.
His first name was Ramsey,
Yeah.
and she was fighting anyway. It's just kind of funny.
Wow.
Anyway, so the top 2 characters or the top few actors in that show, they didn't play the games at all. So they essentially watched like, the cinematics from the game to
Okay.
get cues to how to act in the show.
Yeah.
So they weren't like diehard Last of Us fans, but who cares? They did an amazing job, which is a different perspective from, say, Henry Cavill with The Witcher.
With The Witcher.
God, because he was like a diehard Witcher fan, and he really did a good job at portraying,
I agree with that.
Geralt of Rivia.
God, that guy is just not only Superman, but
Jesus.
it's like Geralt of Rivia in The Witcher. He was so good to the degree of he's such a nerd too. Fundamentally, he builds his own PCs. He plays Warhammer 40K, and I've heard through the grapevine, through social media, who knows if it's true, that he actually might be part of a new series about like Warhammer is huge. It has so much fantasy. It has so much sci-fi. It has so much like lore to it that just has not really been delved into in the film or film series yet. So
Wow, interesting.
he is one of the biggest Warhammer fans ever. And if he's left The Witcher, he's what's going to fill his void for fantasy as a main actor. People are thinking he's going to probably be
Like
one
a
of the main
space marine or
characters,
something?
a one of the head space marines, and
He
Warhammer
would,
40.
oh my God, it's good.
That people are thinking that might happen. And when I say people, it's the voids of the internet. Who knows?
Yeah, well, I'm very happy that's gonna possibly happen because you get instances like the Borderlands movie. Did you guys ever see that?
No, I know it just came out.
Yeah,
It's got Kevin
but
Hart in it, so I didn't watch it.
It was not. It's really not good, and it's because they hired a bunch of like 5-star actors that have no idea what they're talking about. There's some video game that they have no premise of what the game was or what the plot was or how they're supposed to act. It just and it doesn't translate.
Minecraft
well.
movie that came out recently.
Yeah, you can't take a 5-star, Hollywood actor that has no experience or knowledge or how to tap into the emotions of like a person that's played the games. They don't know how that translates, and that's very apparent.
Was that your issue with Last of Us? I haven't seen the show.
No.
You did you watched the show?
No, I actually loved The Last of Us, but when you take like 5, 6, 7 big Hollywood actors and you put them all together to play a game or a movie that was based on like the Borderlands game, it just didn't translate well. Now, The Last of Us, I don't know how they did it, but it obviously translated.
I think there were only
great.
2 big actors in that.
Maybe
series.
that's why, and I think they just had a better dynamic. So maybe that's why it was better. I don't know, but it just did not translate well with the Borderlands experiment. It was a terrible movie,
Yeah.
in my opinion. Maybe you guys would love it, but
I don't think anybody liked it. I don't think anybody did.
I
I'm
mean,
sure some people did, but
to
not
be
a lot of
honest,
many
it's hard to make a comedic movie that has to have not only a plot but a rolling dialogue and also like a purpose to the movie itself instead of just splashing jokes. That's why I think the Dungeons and Dragons movie did a very good job doing that with some high class actors. It's like something of Thieves, Honor Amongst Thieves, or something like that. That Dungeons and Dragons movie, I went into that with such low expectations, being such a nerd and a Dungeons and Dragons advocate, going into that thinking they're going to royally destroy this movie. I came out surprised at how good that movie was. But,
That is true. It was a very good movie.
yeah,
So
and
maybe
I've
that
watched
was
it
an
a couple
isolated
times.
incident, the Borderlands. I don't know, but it was just not a
I
good
think
movie.
it's more likely to happen. You're right. If they're just going to shove like really high dollar actors to get people into the movies, into them, it's not just acting for a movie. I think it's the script writing, it's the dialogue, it's
That's true.
it's
Yeah,
the
that's true.
it's the camera, it's the cinematics, it's a lot of there's hundreds of people in a movie. It's not just going to be the actors who make or break something. So
My favorite zombie game, I never even said, was so I have to give kudos to Left 4 Dead 2 because I have 2,000 hours in it. I can't.
I think it has to be your top game.
it's got the cooperative aspect to it. It's one of the first zombie games to do that, and like multiplayer across the internet. That's probably why.
I can't believe I never played with you, by the way, Dylan. It's nuts because I had so many hours in that game, and then you also played.
I played mostly with Austin and a different Zach, and they I played a lot of that game, but I played it after like Team Fortress 2 and all that stuff. But I didn't get a computer.
Yeah, I wanted to touch more on Left 4 Dead because there's 2 ways to play the game. There's the way you played it, which I also played on the first game as well on Xbox Live, playing competitively. But then there's this whole other side of Left 4 Dead, which is how I play it now because I don't have a PC. So whenever I'm playing it system linked with 2 Xbox 360s and my brother and a cousin. That's the only way I can play right now. And the way I play the game is you pick a level and you put it on the hardest difficulty and you see if you can make it to the end. And that's the only way I play Left 4 Dead.
What?
Yeah.
So you didn't do multiplayer, really?
I did for like a year, for like that summer that it came out, and I
amazing.
had like
Okay.
the friend group to do it. But because I didn't have PC, largely it was always a system link experience on the expert difficulty, which is
Yeah, and it's very hard.
I mean, you can't like it basically requires like total perfection and like cooperation from
Yeah.
everybody. Like drop your shit, like pay attention to what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
Cause if like if you make a mistake, we're all dead.
So
basically.
me getting into it too, I was, it's my, first world problems here. There's so many games coming out at the same time that I was playing with friends and whatnot. But it was when I get into the Left 4 Dead 2 experience, the multiplayer experience, my friends who I played with were complete experts when I walked in the door the first time. And so I was just being taught everything from the ground level. We would go in to these multiplayer games, the highest difficulty possible. And I can't remember, do you have to get books or you have to get like tomes or skulls or I don't know,
Left 4 Dead?
or something that makes it like more difficult as you progress?
In Halo, I know you did, but in Left 4 Dead,
Okay.
they did.
Well, I think we just had it as the most difficult
Yeah,
skill
hit,
level.
like, twice and you're down.
Yeah,
Pretty much,
so
yeah,
but
basically.
I just started playing this game, and my friends would refuse to play at a lower level.
That's kind of crazy
because they had memorized all the
Yeah,
patterns
they know all the
already,
exploits.
and
everything.
so I'm running around like with like a chicken with my head cut off, and they're just babysitting me the
yeah.
entire time. I just remember them being on top of buses and on top of things, and just looking down at me and laughing as I'm being chased by zombies,
That's
and I'm
great.
screaming, and Austin's going, "Dylan, jump on the car, jump on the car," and I'm just like, that was the experience of just me being like bait for them,
Yeah,
and they're just,
I'm sure they were using you as bait.
yeah,
Because the randomization, because like you cannot quite, other than the cinematic moments where it's like this is a big fight, this is a big fight. The randomization in that game, I think at its time was a big deal. Like because the game every time you play it, you don't know where the enemy spawns in because it's randomized. So every time we're playing it, even if we've played No Mercy 100 times, you do not know if you're going to make it to the end or not because of how difficult and how randomized it is. And Left 4 Dead 2, the reason I didn't get into Left 4 Dead 2 as much is because it's actually much harder than Left 4 Dead 1. If you're playing it story mode, hardest difficulty, they limited the number of melee attacks you can do. Now we're getting a little nerdy,
Fatigued
but
a little
they
bit.
added
Yeah,
fatigue.
I
So you
remember.
have a wheel of like energy. You can't beat Left 4 Dead expert difficulty without meleeing some zombies. You just cannot.
Yeah.
So it was too hard. They added more special infected, like the charger and the spitter and the jockey, and they're just like they will kick your ass. And and yeah, so it is so hard. So I think because we were always playing it, we gravitated towards the first game, which is like a little more symmetrical than like in the first game. I think there's 4 special infected to the 4 survivors. There's only 3 guns you can use essentially. That always, you see in Left 4 Dead 2, there's like probably double the amount of weapons, and there's melee too, and so it's a much more complicated game in the second one. But for multiplayer, it might be the way to go.
That's funny because I actually enjoyed the second one much more than the first
Yeah, I
one,
can
'cause
tell,
I
yeah.
only played multiplayer. Yeah, it's funny.
Right.
But I literally, out of the 2,000 hours I played, I probably played maybe 50 hours with like expert mode that you talk about.
Yeah.
Because I only played team deathmatch, like where it's zombie team versus human team,
Which is so fun. It's like
it's just tremendous. Yeah, it's
So what
good,
is the one phrase you remember from the game?
phrase?
A phrase. Think of a phrase for Left 4 Dead 2.
so funny.
I can tell you mine.
Okay, yeah.
Wait, can you give me more
Just like
clarity?
a phrase
on
one
what-
of the characters says
Oh,
over
oh,
and
oh.
over and over again. Pills here.
Yeah, right.
Pills here. And then I just remember like Austin and,
people
and
spam
Zach just constantly pointing at them and just making it.
Yeah,
Pills
right,
here.
right.
Pills
here,
Pills
yeah.
here. That's what I remember.
I would spam. What was the girl's name? Zoe.
Zoe
right?
in the first one. Yeah.
I would spam the screaming, like her a death scream where she goes. I would spam it like a complete dick face. And people were like, "Be stop."
Can you stop?
And I would,
this?
I would sometimes stop, but not always. And I would just spam it. I was one of those people, unfortunately.
I think we played together, just not as much as you like.
I don't remember playing with you. I don't know. Maybe not. But I really
I'm
don't
not that
remember.
memorable.
I don't
okay?
remember playing. I played. I think the most overall games with you than anybody else. But I don't remember a single round with you playing Left 4 Dead 2.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I was probably off the edge half the time. Probably dead, just running around with zombies.
Yeah. Oh, so just give some people some premise on what this game is. By the way, it was probably the first strong multiplayer zombie game,
Yeah.
especially team deathmatch, where you could
Oh, yeah.
play the zombies versus players that played the human survivors. I think it was probably the first one that really made that
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
And I remember when I first bought Left 4 Dead, the first one, I didn't realize you could play the zombies. I didn't know that until I bought it. I was like, "What? You can play the zombies?" And I remember being so blown away by that.
So who's your favorite zombie to play?
Probably the hunter,
Yeah.
classic hunter.
Really?
But I was really good with the hunter. I could do like 8 different,
Jumps.
jumps and land on somebody like 100 damage.
Yeah,
like
so much damage, right?
instant incapacitation.
Smoker for me, man.
That's right. Yeah, the tongue. Yeah, the sniper.
Just finding the cinch points and finding where they're going over a ladder or
Yeah,
something.
you can
like
kill
that.
someone as a smoker instantly.
knock
There's
them
a
off.
couple choke points where, like, if you don't go down the sewer drain with your buddies right now, you get smoked and then it's done.
Exactly.
You know?
I got taught those points by my friends, and I was just like, this is the simplest thing you could do, Dylan. Just wait for them, and then pull them. Here you go. Here's your job.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah.
And that's why I like Left 4 Dead 2 more, because they really exterminated all the exploits you could use from the first one with
interesting.
the new infected. That's exactly what they did. They were like, all right, we see survivors exploiting this corner. So let's make a
Right.
spitter to spit in the corner so they can't just sit there.
Yeah, I know 100% that's why they added the fatigue wheel to the melee, because in multiplayer, it is broken in the multiplayer of the original Left 4 Dead, because the melee can get you out of too many situations. But they kept it in when you're just playing, 4-player campaign and you're just playing, then it's like devastating on it. Because anytime you play versus, you're actually on the normal difficulty. So a zombie hit is no big deal. Oh, I got hit, but whatever. On expert, it's like only a few hits, and I think 5 or 6, and then you're down.
Yeah.
So it's
Very
devastating.
quick. Yeah.
So yeah, again, as somebody who didn't play the multiplayer all that much, or the versus mode, I should say.
For me, the multiplayer mode, it got like intimate with people, because you make friends on there, because it's a very personal game, especially if you play with people that you enjoy playing with. And I remember I met a lot of, on my Steam account, which for people listening, and Steam is an application where you buy different PC games, and you can add friends on there from games and that type of thing. But pretty much all the friends I have on Steam are from Left 4 Dead 2, like all of them, except for people that I know in my real life, like you, Dylan, for example. So where am I going with this? Oh, so I made a friend, which I think I spoke about this on the first episode, but I made a friend on there. His name is Prankster. That's his like Steam tag. Played probably half of my 2,000 hours with him, and probably a few other people named Private Numbnuts. He was,
Of course,
Private Numbnuts. This guy named Delicious Coffee, which I'm hoping to have him on here at some point, and another guy named Frosty. So the 4 of us, played all the time, like every night. Let's go Left 4 Dead 2. So, anyways, I became friends with Prankster. I found out he lived in Tampa, Florida, and we became friends in real life. And he got me a job interview at Raymond James Financial in Tampa. It's like, I actually remember thinking, I got a job interview for. First of all, it was a job I was not really qualified for. I'll just admit that. I got an interview from a job playing this, online zombie game with this programmer guy. Like, what, the chain of events that occurred from here to here are just crazy. I didn't get the job.
Just goes to show you, do not trust certain people's letter of recommendations.
Yeah.
How do you know this guy?
I don't think he mentioned that in the, when his boss asked him how he knew me. So, yeah, he's a friend of mine. But just the fact that I was able to meet some random person on the internet, happened to be like about my age, lived, an hour away. So that's how many hours I played with Left 4 Dead with this guy, Prankster. He's a very cool guy, Tim. Anyways, very cool game. If anyone's out there that's looking for a good multiplayer zombie versus game, Left 4 Dead 2. They did make another one, which, did you ever play Back 4 Blood, either of you?
Yes.
I just really
Wasn't good.
No, sadly.
Isn't that odd how, on paper, you couldn't quite differentiate them? There's 4 survivors. You get from A to B.
There's something off. I don't know what it is.
But there's still like a actual soul missing from the game, and it's kind of hard. It's nuanced, but it's not connecting.
So I think I can put a finger on that pulse right there.
Yeah.
I really think that it came down to being these types of games were the first of their kind, with multiplayer online, playing with your friends. And because there was such a large gap between them and the next game, people played them for years. before another version of that game came out. And when another version of that game came out, they expected the same nuance, the same nostalgia, the same type of game to come, or like same leap of fundamentals that they found in the first one, which is that's not happening. It's like Halo 2. Halo 2 was the first multiplayer co-op game that you could play online on the Xbox, on Xbox Live, and you can use your headset and communicate, and you could play versus, you could play campaign with your friends. It was Halo 2 was a huge jump from Halo 1, and then everyone expected a big jump from like Halo 3 to Halo 4. The progressive jumps were just not as good as like from Halo 2, like Halo 1 to Halo 2, because of the first multiplayer online. And then Left 4 Dead 2 was the first one to like get big with communication with the multiplayer online and
That's
mature.
true.
And
I
so
didn't
it
think about
just,
that.
it was the first one. It's the zombie one that you're able to work with people online and make these friends and these relationships with these people for several years. And then when they try to remake this type of thing, it's just not, it might be better graphics, it might be slightly better, like, kinematics or movement or whatever, but it's just not fundamentally a large enough jump than what we were used to seeing when these types of
Yeah,
games
the
came
ship has
out.
already sailed.
It's like it's basically it's like a cash cow. They're trying, like, all like these newest Halo games, right? Like, or these new, like, it's just they try to just, what is it? It's jump the shark or whatever the phrase is. It's like they just keep trying to make more money off of something with not making enough grand changes to do so.
Yeah,
And I think that's why, because they were the first of their kind to do it right,
Hmm.
and it's hard to jump that. It
Yeah.
really is.
yeah, I agree. I remember being that game was on sale on Steam for like 95% off, and I was like, nah, I'm not gonna buy it. If that doesn't convince me to buy it, then there's something fundamentally wrong with the game.
I kept coming back to it because my brother had a copy, and I was like, hey, let me try one more time. I couldn't have been in the right mindset. And I've like 3 or 4 times with like a few months apart, picked up the game, tried it again. I was like, because I was like, this game's gonna be my bread and butter. When I heard about it, I was like, this is my game of the year. I don't buy games too often. Obviously, I'm playing Resident Evil 4, still 20 years on. So I was like, I'm buying this game. They actually had, I believe they had a beta, and I got to play the beta. And immediately I knew something was wrong. I was like, this is odd. I don't think it's my expectations. I think there's something amiss here. And things are definitely nuanced. It's kind of like with a band. It's like, what are you talking about? They got a guitar and drums and bass. Like, it's got to be rock and roll, right? Maybe not. Like, and Back for Blood, there's just something that's not connecting there. It's just not rock and roll. It's just not hitting.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I can't even quantify it. I'm not the guy to like say what it is. There's like the joke about how they can't make the third part. They can't make the third game.
Oh,
You heard it?
Half-Life?
Yeah, Half-Life 3.
Yeah.
And
Half-Life
there
3 is
were
coming out next
Yeah.
year, guys. Mark my words. Half-Life 3, 2026.
Left 4 Dead. Maybe there's another series. I think because they also broke up Half-Life 2 into multiple parts. If you guys
Yeah, I
recall.
was like, why is this 2.1?
I think there was going to
Just
be a
make
third.
3. What
Yeah,
the hell's going on here?
I think there was actually going to be a part 3, and I could be totally off. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened. I've heard stories because I love Left 4 Dead, and I've looked into it. Like, is there another game? There's actually a phenomenal game, often overlooked, World War Z. I don't know if you've heard
I
of
haven't
or
played it.
played
I like
it.
the
No.
movie.
They continue right. So it's based on the movie. They
Yeah.
continue to update the game. They've actually now added first person, and it's the closest, in my opinion, that we've gotten to Left 4 Dead 3. I love the
Really?
game.
Okay.
Similar. It's the exact same thing for survivors, making from A to B. Like the movie, that game is set across like all around the globe. There's like Israel, Russia,
That is very
New
cool.
York. So you play always as a different band of people with like 4 levels per campaign. Really great game. A little bit overlooked. I think it was excellent. I had a lot of fun with it. Worth checking out. I can't remember if it has like,
Available on Steam, and
oh, for sure. It's got to be.
Yeah, I've seen it. And
It's
I
gotta
was
be.
like, I should probably try this out, and I keep overlooking it. So
Yeah,
I'll have to,
it's worth
I'll
it.
have to do it.
Especially with so there's World War Z, and then there's like World War Z Aftermath, which is like a patch / 1.5 version where they brought in like 2 new campaigns and first person mode, which really tied it all together.
Yeah.
I love Over the Shoulder, of course, but they brought in the first person mode, and it's
Okay.
awesome.
I mean, I feel like I know the answer now to this question, but favorite zombie film? It's a tie, but you guys can go ahead if you have any answers for the.
show, I would say, for me personally, The Last of Us. That was one of HBO's best shows, in my opinion, and one of those shows that's going to save HBO in the end, in my opinion. But
maybe.
there's a lot of things that are going on that they're not coming out with enough content, but they come out with this, so they're good. But anyway, that's my favorite show or film for zombies. You have to come back because I can't think of something right now. What about you, Zach?
Show. I mean, oddly enough, not my favorite show, but Game of Thrones was a zombie show at the end of the day. You know, it really was.
The White Walkers.
It really did
true.
come down to it. But favorite movie, I'm gonna put a movie up there. Shaun of the Dead deserves to be named.
That's a
It's
really
funny
good movie.
because Dylan, you mentioned earlier like how difficult it is to have a comedy that also is more than just a comedy. And Shaun of the Dead is of course funny, but you would be remiss to leave out what an all around functional movie it is. I mean, it's hard. It really does. There's some critical like deaths in the movie, and you get definitely emotionally invested characters. Love Shaun of the Dead, but yeah, like 28 Days Later, everybody's getting ready for the third one, which is coming out. But that first Cillian Murphy movie is super effective, and they're running for the first time. I think that was the first like running zombie movie, and the Zack Snyder Dawn of the Dead, it's not holding up super great over time, but it really freaked me out.
That is one of my favorites as well.
Yeah, it freaked me out when I was a kid.
It was a really good movie.
Yeah, it was.
Is it great? I think it's close to being great. It's very
Yeah, I agree.
definitely. Yeah, like, as you said, it stands up. It's a little cheesy, maybe now, but it was a good movie.
It's super green looking on like the finish they put on like the color grading. I don't know if you haven't watched it. I watched it a handful of years ago, and I was like, it's like got like those really like 2000s like matrix green color like overlay over the whole thing. That's what I recall.
Okay, interesting.
Something like that.
No, I didn't notice that.
But yeah, Ving Rhames is awesome. Jake Weber, I shouldn't know his name, but I loved the show Medium when I was a kid, and he was in that.
Who plays the guy that's on Modern Family? That's
I don't
Jake
know
Weber?
his name. No, that's not Jake Weber.
He does a tremendous job at being a complete douchebag.
I was about to call him the
perfect douchebag.
He is. He's a jerk. I remember his character's name is Steve, but I don't know the actor's name.
Have you seen the movie Dylan?
I've seen Modern Family. I don't.
Yeah. So the guy that plays the husband of the blonde woman, that actor,
the really good actor, the good dad.
Yeah, he's in Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah,
and he plays the biggest a-hole in the
Really?
movie. Like he gets rescued, and he's in this mall with like all the people that are trying to survive the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
And I just remember the line where he's observing two people kind of like argue. They're like, "Oh, we should go to Fort Knox and go
and then like
see if the military's there," and they're like shouting back and forth, and he's like, "I'm glad to see you've all bonded through this disaster." Just like being super sarcastic. But he's just so good at being a real a-hole in the movie.
He's a very good actor. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like he's a unique actor. Oh, so by the way, when you said Shaun, so for favorite film with zombies, as we're talking about, and as soon as you said Shaun of the Dead, that just blew me away, man. I agree entirely.
Yeah,
that's probably my favorite movie, I would say. And it's really hard to do comedy and on that, but it's like kind of like British humor because of the actors who are in it.
So
right?
funny.
It's like a lot of slapstick stuff happening in those types of movies, and they're always working together. Who are the two guys there?
Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
Yes, Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. So yeah, they're fantastic together. What's the other movies they're good? They do
Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz.
It's my favorite movie of all time. It's Hot Fuzz.
No shit, really?
Amazing movie.
Have you seen the video clips that they're always jumping over fences and failing to jump over fences? It's like in every movie they do. There's a scene where they're trying to jump over fences and failing. It's hilarious.
I haven't seen that.
They implement that in most of their movies that they do together.
Hot Fuzz is your favorite movie of all time.
So good,
I need to go back and watch that.
And it's funny because I've told people to watch it, and they always go, "God, this movie's not very good." And I'm like, "What?" I'm always
the only thing I can remember about Hot Fuzz is the ending and how the villain gets it at the end, because I guess it freaked me out so bad. When again, a fence. I don't know how he ends up on this fence, but he gets like a stuff. Am I remembering this right? He gets a fence through the jaw.
They're fighting through like a miniature town replica of the town they're in. It's like the size of this room we're in. So they're like small buildings, and one of them is the church.
It was a steeple. Oh shoot!
Yeah, it's like a very sharp steeple, and the guy gets uppercutted. The villain, who is Timothy Dalton, who plays a James Bond actor.
Yeah,
uppercutted, and he falls over with like the steeple through his chin, like impales through the bottom of his jaw, through his mouth.
That freaked me out.
And he's like, "I'm gonna need ice cream."
Didn't they also do a movie with like they're drinking around the world or something like that? Or
World's End.
I've
seen all their movies. I love those two guys.
They're fantastic together. All right, but that does remind me though, because My second favorite zombie film, I would say, is more of a less about a comedic. Actually, no, it's comedic as well, I guess, but it's more of a comic strip type thing. It's like Zombieland,
Of
Oh,
course,
yeah, I love
that's a great
Zombieland.
one.
It's very good.
That's a
right?
good
You
Yeah,
guys
one.
yeah.
remember that one?
Yes, I
Yeah,
saw
I
it.
have it
Like
on this piece of paper,
rule
yeah.
number 1, rule number 2,
Double
rule number
tap,
3,
something
and
like that.
then like
Limber up.
it's like it brings it down. And it's like
Cardio.
yeah,
Cardio.
rule number 1 is
Buckle up, yeah.
is that cardio. I think it's number 1, right? And the they break it down into like it's kind of like a video game that you're watching the cinematic version of a video game in a movie. And I kind of like that because they're showing you rules, they have steps, and it's comedic at the same time. Done very well. It's the same. I don't know what director does that type of movie, but I think they do the same one with the same actors and all those
Yeah.
movies.
Bill Murray's death just came back to me while you were.
Yeah.
I was going back through.
Oh,
I
yeah.
haven't seen it since the theater. Which is odd because I absolutely loved it. But yeah, Bill Murray's on his deathbed. He gets shot accidentally by Facebook guy. What's his name? And you're like, do you have any?
Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark
Exactly.
actor.
Zuckerberg
I don't know what
actor,
name
whatever
is.
his name is.
They're and like,
It's sad that we know him by Mark Zuckerberg.
what
'cause
is
he's like,
his
I
name?
hate
He
Mark
actually had an
Zuckerberg.
interview saying he's saying he
He
hates
dislikes Mark
he
Zuckerberg.
hates
It's so funny.
he dislikes Mark Zuckerberg, and he hates the fact that more people know him by that.
Yeah.
It's like,
Dang,
actually,
well, now I feel
and
bad.
it just happened.
That Mark
It
Zuckerberg
just
guy. What's his
happened
name?
in this podcast.
Shoot.
Funny.
Well, anyway, Bill Murray's dying and he gets shot in some weird way, and they're like, do you have any regrets? He's like, maybe Garfield.
That's all.
That's pretty funny.
No.
That's good. It's a good movie. And then that one also had a really good emotional twist where with Woody Harrelson's character, again, I hope I'm not misremembering this. He has like an arc where we're wondering like, what is your past? Like, what's your holdup? Like, what's your deal? You act like you don't need anybody. And he's got some story about how he lost his dog to the zombies. And he's like so upset about it. I don't know if you guys remember
Yeah,
this.
I
And
remember,
then I
remember.
think the twist is you find out he's telling the story as his dog, but then we learn at the end, no, he didn't lose his dog. It was his son who was the dog in the story. He actually lost his son to the zombies.
The Mark guy thought he was talking about his.
Yeah, he
Thought he
thought he
was
was talking about the
talking
dog.
about
Years like, oh, this guy's weird. Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was his son who died. Yeah, I
Right.
remember that.
Good one. And they made a
Yeah.
sequel, which, oh my gosh, I might have seen, but I
It
don't
was
remember.
not good.
A lot has happened in the last few years. And was it bad?
So bad.
Oh,
Yeah.
one of those scenarios where if you're going to do a sequel or going to do something else, you got to do something either really make it look like it's an adaptation of the first one, or do something really big and different, you know.
Mhm.
And if you're doing something in between,
I feel like
Falls flat.
every sequel, doesn't matter what it is always an uphill battle.
it is.
Yeah.
The vast majority of movies that I've seen that have sequels, the sequel is usually not as good as the first one. It's just so hard to build upon the first original thought.
It's one of the reasons why the Lord of the Rings was so good.
Yeah,
Just because
well.
every single one was a cinematic masterpiece.
I
So
agree.
1,
I
2, and
still
3.
think the sequel was the worst out of the three. I still think the Two Towers was great.
It is also rated the worst. You are correct.
Yeah.
Is it
So
really?
yeah.
Oh my goodness. So they're on that tree for a long time. Is that a common criticism that Merry and Pippin they're with the Ents for too long? Is that what everybody's problem was with that movie?
The problem with the movie was the fact that they felt it was too slow. But the thing is, it was a transition. They had a really big battle, but it was only a certain portion of the movie.
I loved that movie. I still get scared when I watch. Is it Helm's Deep? Is
Yeah, the
that
battle
that
of
fight
Helm's Deep.
freaks me out? Like it's so intense. Like it just seems like the stakes are completely high, and they've got no shot. I
if
love
you
that.
ignore that it's a lot of like
Yeah.
transitioning and moving.
Yeah.
And people going from point A to point B and
It's a filler.
traveling.
But we get
It's a
we
filler
get
movie.
yeah.
we
It
get
is.
Smeagol
It's
though
hard.
for the first time.
It's true.
Or
Yeah,
Gollum.
there are some milestones, but I think
Yeah.
the majority of the movie, yeah, like Dylan said, it's just filler content.
Yeah.
They want to draw it out, which is fine.
It's because you're going from first movie, which introduces people and gets the whole thing done, and then it's basically traveling through it road, and then getting to the end point. And it's very difficult to be one of those middle movies and to be sufficient. But by the way, it still won a lot of awards. It's still one of
Still
the
a
best,
fantastic movie, don't get me
fantastic
wrong.
movie.
It's
So it's
amazing.
just like it, just because it's not as slightly as good as the first and the third, it doesn't mean it's not a fantastic
expectations are
masterpiece.
very, very high. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, if I have to nitpick, the second one was still the worst out of the three.
And all three
Still a
came out within
phenomenal
how many
movie.
years? What,
Very
2
quickly.
I think a year.
within a year and a half or 2
Something like that.
years, they all came out to get like basically to get like, are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
We should get out there. No, we should stay inside. Come on, we can take them. The man said to stay indoors. Fuck the man! Look, as long as they're out there and we're in here, we're safe.
The attackers could be stopped by removing the head or destroying the brain. I'll repeat that, by removing the head or destroying the brain.
I meant to bring this up earlier. Train to Busan.
Fuck, it's incredible.
What a
It's
good
so
one.
good. Yeah,
What a
yeah.
good one.
I love it.
I was so the villain in that movie drove me crazy at the end, almost ruined the movie for me by the main villain on the
I
train.
don't even know what villain you're talking about, so please explain the movie. to me.
All right.
Yeah.
Train to Busan, again, it's a Korean film, I believe. There's a train, oddly enough, right? With our main character, and I think it was his daughter, and I think that was who the little girl was in the film. They're escaping a zombie outbreak and they're trying to get to Busan, where I think this man, his wife, and the girl's mom is. I think that was the premise.
Right. Yeah.
And but the train has all these stops along the way, and they're kind of seeing the countryside of Korea as it's kind of breaking down. Amazing movie. Of course, zombies get on the train. Very scary, very intense, lots of action. You really care about everybody. There are a lot of really good fleshed out characters you meet along the journey, basically. Of course, there's a villain. There has to be. There was someone on the train. I can't remember who, but he kind of fucks everything up by the end of the movie, and he gets some people killed and just like
He's always like a
irate.
coward. That's
He's a coward, and
yeah,
he
let me
just
open
like
the
gets
door.
good people killed for no reason.
Yeah.
Great movie though. I meant to bring it up earlier, but for
Who
zombies,
was the villain in that movie?
well, I don't know the actor's name but he's like
Yeah.
he's like the
Like, what's his role in the movie?
he's like I want to say he's like, let's call him the manager on board of the train. I felt like he was associated with the train service itself.
like the train conductor.
He was, yeah, maybe not the conductor, but he was calling the shots along the
Okay.
way, and then things get twisted, and he ends up,
So he was more of a coward than like a villain per se.
by the end he's totally a villain. By the end he's
okay,
straight up
okay.
evil, I think, and like
Okay.
So you know what's fun for me is I'm newly using ChatGPT and AI as an app and whatnot on my phone. This might be dated in a couple of years when you're saying, "Oh my gosh, he's just using Chat," but it's new now. The year is 2025, so hold your horses. But I basically said international movies, best zombie international movies. Please give me a list.
Uh-huh.
And the first one
Train to Busan
was Train to
Yeah, yeah.
Busan,
Yeah.
of course.
No, it's a very good movie.
and I've never watched the movie personally because I just he was talking about a Korean film and I was just like, let me see what happens. So I did that and it was literally number one
It is
out
so
of
good.
from several sources. So this is going to be on my list. I want to watch this
Very
movie
good.
now.
It's very good.
That was a movie, Zach, I had very low expectations going into. I was like, oh, it's going to be some like knockoff Korean zombie movie. No, it was incredible and it was very scary. It's hard to make a good action zombie scary movie. It's usually either action or it's scary. It's not both.
And it was both.
And that was high intensity and it was action enough to where it was terrifying because the zombies are really intense in that movie.
They were so intense
Yeah.
and like they're kind of like the survivors are because there's trained cars and they're kind of like separating the zombies in like different
and
cars
and then we're like, oh god,
Yeah.
and then that gets then they get breached or whatever.
or there's like we got to go over to this other car because there's some reason we have to go over there and so really great movie. Had a lot of fun with it. Yeah, there's so much good. And Bong Joon-ho, he's got a ton of great movies. The Host, if you haven't seen The Host, it's literally a monster movie. There's a monster in South Korea, and it's in the sewer, and it's just very good comedy against like a dark comedy. Really good. And Memories of Murder. We're getting so off course, but Memories of Murder is great. While we're on it, check that out. Murder mystery.
So what you said scariest zombies, or no? Carried it. It's hard to have a scary zombie and also a fluid dynamic of the movie itself. But the scariest zombies for me personally was 28 Days Later.
Yeah, very scary zombies.
It's because you're used to zombies being lackadaisical, lethargic. What's the word? Lethargic. Sorry, words. We've been drinking a little bit. I'm sorry. It's a different thing. Like if you like Fear the Walking Dead or The Walking Dead, where they're like in the beginning there was someone faster. They're literally walking. You can walk away from them. They literally call it the Walking.
It's not the Running
Dead.
Dead.
It's not the Running Dead, right? But then my first as a series, The Walking Dead was probably one of the more famous series that came out, at least in the States, that made zombie culture a thing. And I'm pretty sure the first season is different than the second season with different producers and all that. So they kind of changed who they were dealing with. Zombies had memory. They were trying handles and stuff like that. Versus the second season, that was not the case. But they were never very fast. And then that became a regular thing because there's 10 seasons, 7 seasons, I don't know, of The Walking Dead,
it's a
and this
lot.
is on AMC. This is a regularly broadcast series that is not a special series. This is a cable series on for the United States. So everyone had the ability to watch this. And so this became the regular for what people thought zombies were, right? For at least a television series. But as soon as 28 Days Later came out, it flipped the script.
Yeah.
Pun intended.
Yeah.
In the sense of what a zombie is capable of. And they're not walking to you, they are full on sprinting.
And not just sprinting, but they were angry, pissed off you
Yeah,
were
they were
alive.
pissed.
They
That's
want
why
to
it
rip
was-
you to
that was their
shreds.
main thing.
Yeah.
And
the
they
rage
should-
virus. Yeah.
Like it's not just eat
Yeah.
you, they want to literally pull your skin off and then like destroy you from the inside out. And they are running and sprinting at you with no exhaustion.
and you turn into a zombie in like 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's not like let me die and wait like
Right.
7 hours and then maybe
Yeah.
maybe
right.
rise to a zombie or the undead or whatever, and then walk to the next person. But this was just chaos.
Yeah.
And it was just a completely different spin on the zombie
Yeah.
type of scenario. And I remember watching that and say, I really wish if this ever happens, please give us the Walking Dead scenario.
right.
Yes.
Right.
And not 28 Days Later, because us in America, most of us are not physically fit. We are done.
So it's funny you mentioned that because I would prefer the 28 Days Later scenario. And
You
What is
would?
wrong with you? What
the
is wrong
reason-
with you?
Yeah.
Why would you prefer angry people who just
can't wait to
sprint
hear
at
Because
you?
think about the transmission of the actual virus, right?
Okay.
So if you have a virus of the rage virus from 28 Days Later that's in England, right? How would it get to the US? Realistically, how would it get to the
Realistically,
US?
right? Because it's
Because
not
it
like
transmits so fast.
so fast.
So if you have a plane with one person that's affected with the 28 Days Later virus, they would already be infected at the airport because it's within 10 seconds, right? They get infected and they're like
Yeah.
full on zombie.
Does it
mode.
only get transmitted through touch?
Well, it's through like any type of membrane, so like blood in the eye or spit in the eye or a scratch. But the point is, it transmits too fast.
Yeah.
the virus.
It's like a virus that
So it
is
would
too
be-
deadly.
it would be
Does the
quarantines.
virus? Well, I see your point, but does the virus survive? Okay, we're getting into like COVID stuff at this point, but does the virus survive on flesh that may be or something that may be on a surface or something like that, and gets transported from point A to point B? It doesn't necessarily need to be in a host. Like it doesn't.
Well,
Like
you can make the argument with any zombie.
all I'm
universe.
saying is that's the point. This is all fantasy, but my point is like, if it only survives in a host and it like instantly transmits it
So-
after 10 seconds, that's one thing.
The reason I bring all this up is because I played a video game called Plague. Do you guys ever play that?
Yes.
Plague.
Plague's
Yes.
Kill.
It-
Okay,
it
no.
gets you get isolated.
You made
very
a
easily.
okay, so the entire point of this game, Zach, you make a virus, and your entire objective is to kill all of humanity.
Yeah.
Holy
Okay.
crap! All right.
But if you make a virus that's too transmissible, then everyone gets infected too quickly. So then it becomes quarantined to like say England or Europe or America, because if you have a virus that's hyper contagious, then they obviously go up. We need to not do transportation to the US because they're all sick. So you have different countries trying to quarantine more early to anticipate the oncoming infection. And I think to me, that's my argument with the 28 Days Later rage virus. It's too quick.
So
But,
there's
but if it was already in the U.S., you'd take Walking Dead zombies probably. It's already here.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But
yeah.
if we're starting from like ground zero, I would take 28 Days Later over Walking Dead because the Walking Dead zombies, it's a very slow virus.
Yeah.
You don't know if someone's infected until like a day later or a
Sure.
week
And they
later.
could get anywhere.
at one
in that
point
time.
you just die in that series. You just die. You become a zombie. It's in the air.
But you can be.
That's right. Yeah.
Like
that's
it
right.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter
In
who
the-
you are.
That was the
Well,
twist of
that's
the
true.
comic was
It's
they find
basically you
out.
die.
You're
As you
already
die,
infected.
you're a zombie.
Yeah.
Let's just say that's not a thing, and you get infected, you get like a bite, right? But it takes like a week for you to get sick and turn full zombie mode. That is the more dangerous scenario to me than instantly getting bit and then you're a zombie, because there would be a much quicker death. You
Yeah.
know,
I think on a global scale, you are correct.
Yeah,
like,
I
eaten
picture
alive.
myself like if I'm in my house and a zombie's kicking in the door, which one do I want it to be? can't pick the 28 Days Later zombie. It's way too scary.
Yeah, it's a very
Way too scary.
gray
Or the
area.
cordyceps one. The game kind of plays fast and loose, but you don't really know like how much of this like particle of this fungus do I like breathe in before I'm toast. You know what I mean? Like in the game, Joel will be like, "Oh, there's spores. Let's put our mask on."
Yeah.
But you could imagine as well in Last of Us that you could breathe it in, not even know, because it's
I
in the air.
demand
In that
more scientific answers.
game. Right.
So it's all about the science at the end.
I still think the 28 Days Later virus, which is why, by the way, the sequel, 28 Weeks Later,
Yeah.
that's why it's only in England, if you recall.
Yeah, because they
Because
basically
it spread so fast. that England was pretty much infected entirely within probably, I would imagine, days versus months or years. So it infected so fast, everyone knew, don't go to England. Everyone is undead there versus The Walking Dead, where everyone would get maybe infected in like a week.
Yeah.
Then by then you have one sick guy in Florida biting somebody else, and you have one sick guy in Africa and Russia or whatever, because it's harder to track. So, okay. I'm not sure where we're going with this. It's interesting to, think about.
It's interesting to talk about. It's just like, how the virus is transmitted, how the virus is okay, I'll stop. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I also downloaded, they made a really good song or like a score from the original 28 Days Later song. I'm talking about the Heartbeat song.
Okay. Yeah, I think I know
what
what you're talking about. Yeah.
And a really good like metal, like heavy metal song that's based on the original In This House.
Yeah, no, that's
God,
exactly what I'm
so
thinking of. The
good.
song that's playing when Killian is running around at the
I'll
end
have
of
to send it to you because
Yeah.
it's a tremendous song.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Anyways. Oh, another quick thing. I'm looking at my piece of paper here. So I bought this townhouse in Tampa back in like 2001, maybe, with my ex-wife. That's a different story. But so I bought this townhouse in Tampa back when I was playing Left 4 Dead 2. Pretty much in like the peak Left 4 Dead 2 era. And I was playing it every single night. And I remember like, I have this townhouse now. And I had only one shared wall with my neighbor because we had like a corner unit. So I remember thinking like, I can make a lot of noise now, right? Because I have like a bigger, it was like a 2,000 square foot townhouse. It was like a big bedroom that I had my workstation in for my computer. And I was playing Left 4 Dead 2 on like one of the first nights I was there with like the volume extra loud because I was like, I have like the freedom of like having a loud volume and that's everything.
And you did that in a townhouse.
Yeah. But I mean, we only had like one shared wall and I was like, they're not going to hear anything. So I remember playing like a Survivor with like specifically the M16 assault rifle, automatic, playing very loud on my headset, like speakers and like microphone on the desk, and I was talking and like shouting because emotional in that game.
100%.
Yeah, and so I played like for a few hours that night, and then the next day I go to work at my IT job, and I was driving home from work, pulling into the driveway, and I see my neighbor barbecuing on the front driveway, and I was like, that's kind of weird. So he has grill set up on his driveway, his front driveway, not the backyard. Like we had backyards. He had it set up on his front driveway as I'm pulling in.
Just so he could meet you and talk to you?
No way.
And I was, so I got out of my car and he's like, oh, hey, how you doing? I was like, hey, we're not friends. I've never talked to this guy. And somehow he's like, so I don't want to be a bad neighbor, but you're making a lot of noise last night, doing whatever you're doing in your room. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry about that. But I remember he brought his entire grill to his driveway
To have this
just to catch me.
Yeah.
Like as I'm coming home from work, to just say, hey, by the way, please put your headset on or whatever. This is my daughter's, room. She was like a 10-year-old girl. So I felt, because I was cussing and I was like gunshots and all that nonsense,
100%.
So I understand. But this guy went through all this bullshit to make sure he caught me coming home from work.
He must have been. Like, the thing is, like he doesn't know you, and he doesn't know how long you're going to live with next to him. So he wants to be as nice as possible, and he's building this environment so that he's not.
I've never felt so much
over
passive aggressiveness.
Oh,
was he cool? Was he cool about it, or I mean,
he was cool about it.
I feel like the passive aggressiveness was from a good place.
Yeah,
though.
It sounds like there's
I'm
always
still angry about it.
It's like a rule of law. There's always somebody who's going to tell you to turn it down.
He literally could have just walked over and banged on your door and said, no, he could have banged on your door and said, turn that crap down.
He doesn't even bang. You could just knock and be like, hey, just so you know, I know you just moved in here. Sound travels through the walls.
Yeah.
So you would have rather that happen?
I'm very angry at this guy. This was like 10 years ago now.
You know what? I agree. I don't like the manipulation. I do not
Yeah,
either.
all this,
Like,
and since then, by the way, since that one night, he never grilled in his front yard
Yeah.
bullshit area. He
Yeah.
did that one night just to catch me coming home from.
So-
I, maybe he was out there for hours,
Waiting.
just like pretend
Grilling.
Bullshit.
So much
I
food.
think that
18 pounds of hamburger on the side.
Yes, like I will.
I'm sorry, wife. I'm trying to catch this guy.
There's no limit to the number of
Jesus Christ,
hamburgers
I
I will.
think I'll never forget this guy. Yeah, it's like just talk to me.
That's
I get it.
incredible.
You know.
But I mean, it did work. He got you. Like he was
After hundreds of dollars,
Yeah.
you'd rather the more aggressive approach.
it's not aggressive. It's not active aggressive or passive. It's just being a neighbor.
I got
on your
the
door.
I got the broom handle on the floor like last week. I'm not even kidding. I'm not kidding.
Really.
I got the broom handle on the floor.
What does that mean?
broom handle.
The broom handle.
Like boom,
Boom,
Oh,
I was playing The Last of Us multiplayer. Nobody knows that game is multiplayer. This you can edit this out.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, it is. That's the game that I play more than anything else. Last of Us 1 has multiplayer, and it's the best multiplayer there is for 4v4 just deathmatch.
What?
That's
I didn't
it.
know that. That's
That's the
crazy.
game.
Wow.
Yeah, it's awesome, and I'm the best in the world at it. By now, I have to be.
That was me for Left 4 Dead 2. I think I can honestly say, and this is not me bragging, this is statistics. I think I met one other multiplayer person
This is
that
just
was
numbers.
better than me. Like after a certain point, like I was just the best. And everyone's like, we need Reaper on our team because he's the best. And every single time I played, like we just, 95% of the time won.
Yeah,
And I remember one person like being better than me, and I was like, fuck. I was like, how is this person better than me?
On Last of Us, we call them neckbeards.
Oh,
When you see a score, someone's maxed out, because on Last of Us you can become, there's like a level 0 to 999. If you've played a 999, you're a neckbeard. It's like you play this game. And so if we see a 999, you're like, okay, there's a neckbeard in here. We have to take this seriously.
I'm gonna have an episode soon about Hell Let Loose, which I know you know. Have you ever played Hell Let Loose?
No, but I've heard a lot. It's World War II, right?
It's a miserable game.
It's
Some people are bad at it.
dumb.
Okay.
But God, Dylan, we need to start playing that.
Nah,
game, man. Come on,
nah,
knock it out.
Nah,
All right.
nah. I don't like running 20 minutes to a location that ain't popped
It's
randomly.
a very hyper realistic World War II simulator.
Okay.
You can play
That's a
infantry, armor unit, like being
Mhm.
like a tank or like some kind of vehicle, or a sniper. Medic is part of the infantry. So they made it more polished, by the way, Dylan. Since you played, they now have like more roles for the reconnaissance team. So you're not really like even like in combat. You're just out there to like get.
to visually spot.
Yes,
somebody.
exactly. So they made it less punishing because you would like spawn, for example, Zach, in like headshot, boink, you're dead. You're like, and then there was long wait times. There wasn't like instant response. You have to like wait 20 seconds.
Oh no, you're wait. Oh, then something. Oh, then you wait 20 seconds, but then something gets filled out. So now you're waiting the extra 30 seconds that it's the next spawn point. You're like, because you didn't select something in time. You're like, this game.
It was a lot of walking and getting shot in the head.
Yeah.
But I always played armor units. So, you get into like a tank and you have like more strategy involved and that type of thing. But
takes more
No.
communication that way, and the fact that we come in with a squad with in Discord, we all play have different crew. We're all tank crewmen.
Yeah,
And we all have our own
we
spots.
That's really cool.
yeah, no, it's very cool, right?
The tank part is cool.
It's cool, right?
Outside of the tank part,
It's a very, very good game, but it's very punishing.
it's infuriating.
I forgot where I was going with this conversation. Oh, so a lot of the other guys that I play with, apart from like, I don't know, Left 4 Dead, I don't know if I really played with a lot of, but Hell Let Loose is probably the other game where I have friends that have played thousands of hours because of the overall replayability in this game. I have guys that are now level, literally the max, which is like a 400 level, which to me blows my mind because I played that game a lot. I have like 500 hours, and I'm like level 30.
Yeah.
These guys are like level like 4. I'm like, what? How much have you played of this game?
Yeah, I got to level 10.
Yeah, whenever I'm on Steam, I always see them playing Hell Let Loose, and I'm like, Jesus Christ! The amount of hours they put in this game are very impressive.
Into suffering, yeah.
It's very good.
I got to level 10 by just playing this game off of his coattails and my other friend's coattails.
Mhm.
I'm literally just the spotter in a tank. I just sit there and just press a button, like this slew my tank and spot. And then spot and spot and
but
then
that's
give
why this game is so-
coordinates. That's all I did, and I got to like level. And then I was like, I'm did this for 4 hours straight. I'm just slewing a mechanized thing. Zero killers on me, and I'm
That's all it
just.
is.
I have like 90 assists just spotting things.
That's why I love that, because there's so many different roles. It's not just like killing. It's just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you need to talk people. You need to spot things. Anyways, all right. So I mean, we've now been talking for like a long time.
Yeah.
Jesus, it's 9:30. All right. I might have honestly another episode of just zombie stuff. I want to talk about 7 Days to Die, which Dylan, I know we played a lot of with Sam.
Bring Sam in for that episode.
Yeah, we need to, because Zach,
And Austin.
yeah, it's essentially like Minecraft, but with zombies,
Okay.
right? Dylan, would you say?
Yeah, it's more. Yeah, it's open world, but not block based. But like it's the world is terraformable, and there's waves that come at you, and you
Every
have to build-
7 days, there's like a
have-
horde. That's called 7 days.
You have to
to
gather
Die.
resources. It's base building, which Carrie and I love to do, gathering resource base building games together. But it's fantastic because it gives you a set time period. Like every 7 days, there's a major wave that's
massive
coming at
wave.
you.
Oh, wow.
And you need to prepare for that. You need to set up your base. You need to repair it. You need to make it better. You need to put up traps. You need to get your stuff together so that you can survive this day. And that's why
And
it's
I
called
remember-
7 Days to Die.
Gotcha.
I remember Dylan, we were playing with Sam. You were there, and maybe Austin, maybe some other, maybe Cody, maybe, or Shaun. But we designed this place, or this base, Zach, that had like a lot of traps to like kill zombies. I remember
Electrical wires.
I remember the first floor was
Turret.
these like blades that would rotate. Like,
Is it like
almost like a ceiling
StarCraft? I'm
fan.
trying to picture it. Like, is it like top down or
No,
first
no.
person?
First person.
Okay.
First person.
Gotcha.
So you're on like ground level, and you're building a base, and you can. It's a very customizable game. You can make a base out of wood, concrete, stone. You can make electrical work with air conditioning and traps to kill zombies and automated turrets and all this stuff. And so the first wave or maybe the second wave comes like 14 days in, where it gets like hard. And we had this base that was so well polished. The entire first floor was designed to kill zombies. It was all these rotating propeller blades, almost like massive ceiling fans, but with like sharp blades.
Yeah.
That would protect the second floor, which is like where we lived.
Yeah.
This horde of waves comes. Everything else, like, there's no way we're gonna get even like worried, right?
Things we researched this. We figured it out.
Yeah.
We knew what we were doing.
Like everything was like perfectly set up. So this 14 days, like, it's always at night comes and these zombies all come in. We're like, oh, no big deal. About like a minute in, we're like, oh, no big deal. And then like all of a sudden it just gets like shit hits the fan. These aerial like bats come in spitting acid at us and all this, and like the base gets demolished, and we're like, oh shit, we're gonna die. And I remember maybe it was you and me, or me and Sam, but we hopped into one of our cars and we're just like driving around all night, trying to just outrun these like bats, these like zombie bats that were spitting acid at us.
Okay.
Because we prepared for everything else except
And-
for flying creatures.
Yeah, I didn't.
We did not expect that. So
Yeah.
And I
we
remember
expected that.
thinking all this work we did was for nothing. Whereas of like such a complex base, it was just completely fucked.
Yeah.
Like by the time this was over with. I remember
But
driving
we
back.
figured it out. We survived. We came back to the base. We figured it out. We needed to make better, a better roof.
Yeah.
I don't. No. We actually abandoned that whole idea, and Sam was like, "All right, what we need to do is build an underground base." So this is a game where you
you're
build
right.
underground.
You're right.
You need, like a drill,
Because you could terraform. Yeah.
and you can build pretty much like all the way down to like the core of the earth, essentially. So we built this underground like Moria, Lands of Lore, not Lands of Lore. It's called
Lens of Moria.
Lines of
Yeah.
Lines of Moria.
Yeah. So we built this like underground tunnel. Anyways, I remember, being so humbled after this experience is
Yes.
like getting completely screwed within minutes of this base that we thought were like impenetrable.
We thought we
Yeah.
the goal.
That was like a 28 days later type of virus.
Running
Zombies.
Oh my gosh. I remember just being in that car with you and we're just being pecked at and spit at by like acid, like zombie bats and stuff like that. We're just
That's
running.
so
And
ridiculous.
Carrie's just screaming like heal. And then we're just trying to like hopefully not hit something on the road so it stops us. And we're
Yeah,
just,
I remember like, watch out for that rock.
watch out for that rock.
Roll over.
Spot for us in the middle of the night. Like, and we're just trying not to hit things and just keep going. And then we finally survived. And that was the call in that game. Go underground.
It is a very good game though.
It's a good
and
game.
we'll keep playing. Yeah, it's one of those games that's going to be early access forever.
Very
I was looking at that.
replayable.
7 Days to Die.
It's
7 Days to
replayable.
Die, it's very good. Yeah, there's a lot of games.
Yeah.
Alien
7 Days to
Isolation.
Die.
Anybody played Alien
Yeah,
Isolation?
no, I was too scared to play that. I bought
Exactly.
it.
Yeah,
It's a
exactly.
very good game. Yeah.
10 out of 10 underrated game.
Yeah.
That's now getting a sequel potentially, actually.
Good.
Yeah, right. 10 years on, it's not getting a sequel.
I think I mean, I have 2 more call-outs. I'm looking on a piece of paper here, but I think the last call-out, playing Dead Island 2. I played the first one and the second one, but the second one I remember playing a lot with, again, you, Dylan. Do you ever play that, Zach? Dead Island?
No, I didn't. I remember thinking I was going to get it. That trailer is still. You guys remember the trailer for Dead Island?
Where it's backwards.
Is playing in reverse, and I still
very iconic.
to this day. It's still like one of the best game trailers ever. But I ended up not playing the game, but I wanted to. But the reviews were like mixed, and
I don't know why.
I didn't get into it for some
It's
reason.
such a good game.
I should have listened to it. Probably should have given
It's
it a shot.
worth a look. But
I think it's a game worth playing. Does not have a lot of replayability.
Oh, really? Okay.
Once you get through it and once you've done it, you've done everything you can do.
there's no base building. It's just like a story.
It's a story. It's a story. You get through it.
I loved the story. You're on a resort, right? You're on the beach
The
resort.
second one, you're on a resort. Yes, I believe so. Yeah, so it's like but the thing is, as soon as you get through it, you get through the story, you do the main quests, you do all that stuff. Yes, they have customizable weapon, like like ways to attack people and or zombies and whatnot. But it's a very good game. It's worth buying, but it's just not replayable.
Just for anyone listening, Dead Island, it's obviously on an island, but essentially, if you can imagine yourself being on like a paradise resort in Hawaii, and all of a sudden you wake up and there's like a zombie apocalypse on your resort, little expensive, luxurious island. That's pretty much what this game is. But I remember playing this game, being so blown away by the scenery, because you're like in like Hawaii, like
Yeah.
these beautiful beaches, and you're walking around with like an electrified machete that you created yourself, and you're decapitating zombies on like a perfect beach. I remember thinking like, this is nuts that I'm on this beautiful landscape killing people.
How did we get here?
So, anyways, that's my last call out. But all right, guys, I appreciate having being on the show.
Yeah,
and
we did it.
yeah. So
This is your second or third?
third. Wait. First one, Christmas. Was there another one, Dylan?
There was. I was on 2 before this. Yes. So this is my
your
third one.
Okay,
Yes.
very good.
Nice.
So thank you for having me back, Carrie.
Yeah. Well, I expect you to be on more.
I live here, so I think it'll happen.
All right, guys. Well, have a good night. I appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thank you.